Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here and welcome to my review of Doctor Who Series 2 Episode 2, Tooth and Claw. It's been a long time coming for these Series 2 reviews because I actually watched Christmas Invasion New Earth at the end of November, start of December. Did the reviews mid-December, got the Christmas Invasion one as well as Attack of the Grask and Children of 2005, Born Again, out at the end of December. New Earth, I just put it out at the end of January, even though it was ready ages before start of January. But put it out at the end of January because there weren't any videos out in January, Doctor Who videos out in January, so I just put it out. And now, finally, here we are, Tooth and Claw. We're back into into pre-2015, 2016 Doctor Who. So here we go. Series 2 continues with Tooth and Claw. The plot of this episode sees the brethren of monks who have decided to devote their lives to this alien creature that takes over the bodies of humans and becomes a wolf at night. So in essence, a werewolf. And it's 1817. It's been on Earth since the 1500s. And now it's 1879 at the time of the stories being set. So, and the werewolf and the brethren are planning for it to take over the monarchy, to bite Queen Victoria and infect her and make her become a werewolf, and soon the Empire of the Wolf will begin. Meanwhile, the Doctor and Rose, on their way to 1979 to, well, just experience 1979, end up 100 years earlier in the wrong century. It's probably all that bashing on the console you did, Doctor. From the TARDIS just probably got fed up with it and thought, right, that's it. I'm taking you to 1879. I'm taking you back 100 years before to when you want to go, because I had enough of you bashing my console. But yeah, it's good to see the Doctor and Rose having fun again together. I mean, they were having fun in the last story, but I think this one, they're just really pally, friendly for the most part. And to be honest, I actually have to say this is probably the nicest Rose has been as a character for a long time. I mean, yeah, she's got her moments, but to be honest, I think many of the other companions probably would say or do similar things to her in the story when talking to some of the other characters. But not too many this time around. In fact, like I said, she's actually quite a nice character in this one for the most part. But I think she's actually a very good character in this one. So, Rose fans, rejoice. And also, David Tennant is outstanding in this episode. He's not only gotten into the role really well in his first 3 episodes as the Doctor, but he feels like he's already been the Doctor since the start of the new series, maybe even longer, after just 3 episodes. Then again, so did Christopher Eccleston, but I don't know, it just feels right with David Tennant. Just 3 episodes in, he's already he's settled into the role. He's probably the one who's settled into the role the quickest of any Doctor, possibly with the possible exception of Eccleston. But yeah, it's just it did take Jon Pertwee, Tom Baker pretty quickly to settle into their roles as well, to be honest. But I think certainly in the new series, Eccleston and Tennant are the ones who settle into the roles of the Doctor pretty quickly, and Smith, to be honest, as well. But especially Tennant. And also, I love how Tennant gets to use his Scottish accent. His the one that he talks. He's a Scotsman, so that's his native accent, and he puts on an English accent for the role of the Doctor. But he gets to use his Scottish accent for part of the story when he's pretending to be a Scotsman. Fun notes, he calls himself Dr. James McCrimmon. A nice reference to Jamie. Nice. And also a reference to Balamory thrown in there as well. That was a great series back in the early 2000s. Used to watch episodes of that. That was a great series for kids. Anyway, so the Doctor and Rose meet Queen Victoria and a company played by Pauline Collins, who was in a Jamie story, The Faceless Ones, which is getting animated this year, including 2 surviving episodes. But, don't worry about that. We've already talked about that a few times. But, yeah, The Faceless Ones is coming out later this year. And Pauline Collins was in that story as a companion who could have been a companion. But Collins decided not to come back. She decided just to be play a supporting character, and then they got Deborah Watling's Victoria Waterfield in the next story, the Evil of the Daleks. However, Collins is back now in Tooth and Claw, nearly 40 years after her last appearance, and she is brilliant as Queen Victoria. She does a great role, and I like how the character's written, how she's quite nice and likeable and really enjoyable earlier on, and then over the course of the story, she gets a bit more scared, she gets a bit more confused, and gets less amused, let's say. Throughout the story, Rose and the Doctor have a bet on whether Rose can get her to say, "If I am not amused," which is something she only ever said once in real life, apparently, and only ever else when wrote in her diary or something. I suppose this is the unofficial second time she says it. I suppose, and an unofficial 7th out of 8 assassination attempts, when in history she's had 7 assassination attempts. By this point, 6 in the story. So the wolf one, I don't think it counts as the 7th one, but it could be an unofficial 7th out of 8. So the story continues with the Queen going to Torchwood House as part of the Torchwood estate run by Sir Robert King, who's been forced by the monks to host the Queen. And eventually, throughout the first half of the story sees us learning about stuff around the house, and about the wolf, and about Sir Robert's father being fascinated by the wolf. And then about 20 to 25 minutes in, we get the action-packed wolf chase story of the Doctor, Rose, Queen Victoria, and Sir Robert having to flee the wolf and try and find a way to stop it via a quick stop to the library. And eventually, the Doctor realizes that Sir Robert's father, and also Queen Victoria's late husband, Prince Albert, had devised a trap for the wolf. As they didn't believe the stories were just stories, they thought they were real, and they've predicted that the wolf would come after Queen Victoria, so they plotted against the wolf in a trap to try and stop it. So the Doctor and Rose are able to use moonlight with the big telescope in the observatory to they are able to defeat the wolf and save the Queen. Although it is implied that the wolf may have bitten her, and the gene would not affect her too much, but she does develop this illness, and then the wolf genes would not really come out until descendants in around the 21st century. So they're implying that the royal family are werewolves nowadays, the 21st century ones anyway, early 21st century. So some nice jokes. And at the end of the story, Queen Victoria, she's also knighted and banished the Doctor and Rose, by the way. So from this point onwards, the Doctor can get to say he's Doctor of TARDIS when introducing himself. See Shakespeare Code, for instance. And at the end of the story, she decides to create an institute to fight Britain's enemies beyond their borders. Not just their human enemies, but ones from beyond any shore, I suppose. Space. And also the aliens who live underneath the Earth, like the Silurians and the Sea Devils. Anyway, she creates, she decides to create Torchwood, the Torchwood Institute, to fight alien beings, and also the Doctor if he comes back, in her point of view. And yeah, that gave me a lot of goosebumps when rewatching it, because of what's going to happen in the series finale, with the creation of the Torchwood Institute basically being a secondary unit, a more secret one at that, one that maybe answers more to the monarchy rather than the United Nations or the government. And yeah, this is great. I'm wondering how people, when the story first aired, would have reacted, because they would have heard the name twice before, in Bad Wolf and in The Christmas Invasion, and heard of this new Doctor Who spin-off called Torchwood that would be out later in 2006. So I wonder what people were thinking back then, not to mention the name Torchwood is going to keep popping up throughout Series 2 until the last 2 episodes, when we finally get to see what Torchwood, or at least Torchwood 1, looks like when we get to Army of Ghosts, the penultimate episode of the series. But yeah, knowing what Torchwood is like now, when all these years later, the story was 2006. It's now it's 14 years old in April, so nearly 14 years on. We know all of this information, and wow, yeah, goosebumps. So yeah, so Tooth and Claw, great story, some great story, some great dialogue, some great acting. Cinematography and editing is also really good. Apart from, I have to mention the opening scene, which seems to be a very martial arts style action scene between the monks and some workmen. Um, Outside, it does have some strange editing. I suppose it's trying to be a quick style action editing, but it's a little messy. And the same with the wolf killing people. This story is already a 12 rated story, probably for those bits in particular. The wolf killing people, it's a bit nasty. It's the only 12 rated episode of this series, and only the third of the new series. Don't worry, when we get to series 4, there'll be a few more. But it's all going to be all PG up to Fires of Pompeii from now on. And then the next 12 episodes is Planet of the Ood, 12 rated episodes. In the UK, I think there's some in Ireland in the series at the end of the series and in series 3. But anyway, but as I was saying, yeah, it's a little messy editing. It's trying to be action packed in the earlier scene with the martial arts fighting scenes, and with the wolf killing scenes, it's trying to be scary, but without being graphic, but still really frightening. And yeah, but it does both do look a bit messy, although I do like the wolf's POV. That was really interesting. But those types of editing, they were a bit messy, but they still worked really well for what they were. And the rest of the editing is also really great. Some camera movements do give me a bit of a Torchwood Series 1 and 2 vibe, with their zooming in and with some camera that would probably inspire how Torchwood Series 1 and 2 were filmed, or certainly Series 1 from the clips I've seen. But yes, still some really great cinematography. Direction's great. Just a fast-paced action scene, some amazing music by Murray Gold, and just an all-round amazing story. Some really great stuff. Just lots of amazing stuff happening in this episode. So on the whole, Tooth and Claw is... I haven't got the DVD with me. That's all right. I don't need until the ranking, actually. On the whole, I think Tooth and Claw is a fantastic second episode of the series. I think it's a fantastic story, and just an all-round brilliant adventure. My only real... I did think the editing was a little bit messy, but actually thinking about it, I think it does accomplish what it does need to. But I will say it is a bit messy. My only other issue with the story is I wish it was episode 1, not episode 2, because it's such a great story, and also setting up the story arc of the recurring theme, I should say, of series 2, Torchwood. And also the chemistry with the Doctor and Rose. I prefer it to here than it was in New Earth. But yeah, just these reasons, I would have liked it to have been episode 1 of the series. I think it would have been a great opening episode. I think it would have fitted perfectly. Just move the pre-title scene of New Earth to the start, maybe minus the last little bit, and then move the episodes around. But that's just a personal nitpick. It's not got anything to do with the story. I just think Tooth and Claw would have been better as the first episode, or save it a little bit later, or maybe to be episode 4 or episode 7. So then people could maybe people realize, oh, this is where Torchwood came from. Now that name's become a bit more significant. But either way, it doesn't matter too much. It's only a personal nitpick. The story doesn't really suffer for it. So on the whole, I was going to give this story a 9 out of 10 because the editing in places was a little messy. But to be honest, as I now think they actually serve a very good purpose. I actually think they work well in the context of how they're edited. And it's not too badly it's not too messy, it's not too badly done. It actually works well enough to do what it needs to do. Especially the wolf killing scenes, they definitely get across what they need to do really well. So on the whole, I've decided to bump my score up. It was originally an 8, and then it went to 9 when actually rewatching the episode. And now I can safely say that Tooth and Claw is a definite 10 out of 10. Third story of the 10th Doctor's era, and the second story of Series 2, and we're already on our second and first 10 out of 10 respectively. New Earth sadly couldn't live up to the same quality as the Christmas Invasion or this story in terms of writing or execution in some places. However, Tooth and Claw is a fantastic story, and basically a fantastic story, some amazing moments, great script, great acting, great performances, great characters, some amazing music. Cinematography and editing is for the most of the story. It's really well handled. A few minor niggles, but not enough to downgrade the story, and that's why I decided to give it a 10 as opposed to the 9 I was thinking of giving it, because especially with the editing, they actually work well with the context of how they're trying to make the story look. Also, the CGI wolf holds up, I should say, really, really well. That thing is, as the Doctor says, oh, you're beautiful. It really is. It looks amazing. The CGI on that is amazing, and the details, it's amazing. And the shot where the Doctor's sitting at the door and you see the wolf on the other side. Oh, that's amazing stuff. Wow, Tooth and Claw. It's a story that doesn't get really talked about that much as far as new series stories are concerned. I think it ought to. It's a great story, and one I think is an early gem for the revived series, along with quite a few series ones, but also alongside the Christmas Invasion. Series 2, despite it being considered one of the weaker ones of at least the Russell T Davies era and the 2000s era of the new series, which is pretty much the same era to be honest, minus the End of Time Part 2 in the case of the 2000s era, unless you're considering it's 2000s as 2001 to 2010, in which case it's the same apart from the additional Series 5 in the Christmas Carol. But anyway, despite Series 2 being considered the weakest or one of the weaker RTD era series, I think it's off to a really great start, minus New Earth, but off to a really great start with this episode in the Christmas Invasion. And we've got 2 more great episodes before the first 2-parter, with School Reunion next, which is another great story, and The Girl in the Fireplace, which is absolutely beautiful. And that's coming up next. Next time is School Reunion, then on to the masterpiece, that is The Girl in the Fireplace, and then we're on to the 2-part story that reintroduces the Cybermen. Woo! This half of the series is actually looking really great, minus New Earth, but still, apart from that, that was still a fun story. But not amazing, though. But the rest of the first half of the series, looking really great. And then I suppose the first half of the series caps off with Idiot's Lantern, which is the one that was my first... which is the story that got me into Doctor Who. So it might not be as good as some of the other stories of the first half of the series, but it's still got a special place in my heart, even if it's not a very big one. But anyway, next time, School Reunion, which sees the return of Sarah Jane Smith, played by the amazing Elizabeth Sladen, and K9 Mark III, played by the amazing John Leeson. And also has Anthony Head, one of the best guest stars of the series, as our villain. So, lots to look forward to next time. And also Mickey plays a more prominent role in the next story. So again, lots to look forward to. Oh, and one more thing before we go. I actually got this today. The Doctor Who Figurine Collection Special 22, which is the werewolf. That's quite funny that I got that today, and at time recording this video, I actually watched the episode yesterday, and now recording this video. That's a lot of coincidences, huh? Do you think I'll get a Crinitane figure tomorrow? And probably not. Maybe next month. No, well, if it's going to be a special, it might be next 10 figures time. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Both some nice bits and some not so much, but not so much nasty this time round. In fact, there's only a few. Well, maybe just like I said, just not scared or just with the Doctor, Rose, Queen Victoria, and Sir Robert. Is it Robert King? and anyway, she does the first 10 out of 10 for the David Tennant's 10th Doctor's era. Well, no, it's not. It's second. 3 stories into this new era, and we're on our second 10 out of 10. Second. But anyway, I think it's a definite early gem of the revised series. And whilst this, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Oh, one more thing before. Do you think we'll get a Crittertane figure next week? I'm joking. No. Anyway, like I said, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for school. Anyway, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time for school reunion. Actually, I'll just cut that bit. I'll just use the one at the end. Okay, we'll use that one instead. Okay, we're done.